Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Ranking Member, members of the Rules Committee. Earlier, Representative Cheney said we can have an investigation or we can let it go uninvestigated. I mean, what a ridiculous statement. The FBI has been investigating this issue for the past, since it happened. Exactly where it's supposed to happen. 600 people have been charged. Investigations are supposed to happen in the executive branch. Congress has an oversight function, but Democrats don't want to do that. They don't want to ask the appropriate questions, like why was the security posture so weak that day? Why wasn't the National Guard here? They don't want to ask those questions. Instead, the actions of the January 6th Committee, I believe, are a complete assault on Americans' liberty. There have been 4 batches of subpoenas issued. 4 batches. The one we're talking about today, Mr. Bannon, Mr. Meadows, Mr. Patel, Mr. Scavino. Second one to Mr. Clark, employee at DOJ, former employee at DOJ. The 3rd batch to organizers of some other rally I didn't know about that happened that day. And then there's been subpoenas issued to 11 individuals, 11 American citizens, who asked the government for permission on an application to hold the Trump rally. Now think about this. They put their names on an application. The government asked them to do that. They give that application to the government granted it, and now the January 6th Committee petitions them to ask them questions about exercising their First Amendment right to assemble. Here's what they ask them about. Subpoena to those individuals, those 11 individuals, includes a demand for agenda and selection of speakers for the rally. They ask them for coordination of the speakers' respective speeches, discussions of content, and they ask them, think about this, communications with or concerning any member of Congress. So, if some of these individuals happen to talk to a member of Congress exercising their First Amendment liberty to petition their government to redress their grievances, wow, the January 6th Committee wants to depose them on those kind of things. Some of these individuals are 20-some-year-old staffers. I mean, this is largely a clerical thing. They filled out this application, setting out chairs, escorting people to their seats, plugging in microphones. No, they're gonna go after them. Even though the investigation the FBI is doing says, fine, scan evidence of any type of coordination. Here's what it says: violence was not centrally coordinated. This is the Reuters story. Oh, and here's the source. Here's the source on that story. Senior lawmakers have been briefed in detail on the results of the FBI's investigation so far, find them credible, a Democrat congressional source said. So there is an investigation going on where it's supposed to happen in the executive branch. Oh, I forgot. One other thing the January 6th Committee's done that I believe is a direct attack on liberty. They've sent letters to the carriers, the tech companies, asking that they, for hundreds and hundreds of Americans, according to news reports, asking that they preserve all communications of that individual for the past 6 months. And they told these companies, oh, by the way, don't let the person we're telling you to preserve information for, don't let them know, like the law requires, don't let them know that we've asked you to do this. And if you feel compelled to follow the law and tell them that this January 6th, that government is asking for this information to be preserved, if you feel compelled to, tell us first. The old gag order concept, this is scary where they want to go and what they're doing to Americans' constitutional rights. And finally, I would ask just this sort of fundamental question. How can you expect witnesses to participate when you wouldn't let Republicans participate in the committee? How can you do that? We know what this is about. This is plain and simple. This is about, they got nothing else to talk about. They got nothing else to talk. This is the worst administration in history. We went from a secure border to complete chaos. Complete chaos. Every single month has been worse than the one before. March was the highest month on record for illegal crossings, illegal migrant encounters, until April. April was the highest month until May. May was the highest month until June. June was the highest month until July. 212,000 that month alone. They got nothing else to talk about. We went from energy independence to the President of the United States begging OPEC to increase production. They can't talk about that. No, they're going to use this committee to attack American citizens' liberties, fundamental First Amendment rights. We went from relatively safe streets to violent crime up in every major urban area in this country. Can't talk about that, can't address those problems that real Americans care about. Nope, we're going to assault Americans' First Amendment rights. Can't talk about inflation, real wages gone down, can't talk about that, supply chain problems, empty shelves in the stores, can't talk about that. Nope, going to go after this. I hope every single Republican votes against this. I hope some Democrats decide that this is not how it's supposed to work. We just had a decision last year. The Mazur, these guys are obsessed with going after President Trump. We just had a decision in the Mazur case last year that says this is not how it's supposed to work. Slap back Congress because they wanted to get information that they weren't entitled to. They don't do the investigations, the executive branch does. Mr. Chairman, I look forward to questions.